Hello, everyone. And if you have not been raptured yet, this is this is Lark,
And Kimberly,
and we are auto asphyxiation. I am really kind of like, wow, we're still here. And today we are we Kimberly and I watched the New Jersey governor debate. I'm calling it uh dog whistles and recklessness versus pragmatic progressiveness. I'm in shock. I'm in shock. What are your first thoughts you want to like share,
I,
Kimberly?
I'm appalled that this is what is like goes for a supposed professional kind of debate these days. Like the absolute insanity going on in the audience, the little quick jabs by J6 Jack constantly, just absolutely ridiculous.
And I think the things I find really interesting about the so-called mainstream media and this is the whole thing. It's like people are like, what? We're going to get into this. But I think the thing about the whole mainstream media is they're acting like Jack was acting totally normal. Like essentially people yelling bullshit in the audience and like screaming and just acting like literal animals. No one really pointed that out. And I'm like, why is that okay? That's not okay. We don't act that way. And I don't think those were writer students that were acting that way for some strange reason.
I don't think that they were either. And I find it really distasteful for people who are supposedly the party of supporting the troops that they booed her when she talked about her service record. And I know that she gets a lot of flack for talking about her service record a lot, but if I was a Navy fighter pilot, I would be really proud about that. And I would talk about it a lot too, especially when my opponent has literally no employment record to speak of.
I thought that was interesting too. We're gonna kind of get into it, but Jack was kind of like bragging, and he talked about his family history, and I'm like, so essentially, your dad worked for the government, your dad's dad worked for the government, but you guys had businesses on the side, so now you're business people. I'm like, you benefited from public school, so now you want to dismantle the public school and government jobs that your family came up on. Because you don't, anyway, it doesn't matter. I just thought it was interesting. I'm like, he made it seem like he was a self-made man. I'm like, you're not quite self-made, are you? If your granddad owned a bar and had a government job.
Yeah. Yeah, and they try to knock Sherrill because she is not born in New Jersey, which just like smacks of like nativism. Like you can't be so proud of being an Italian while also being a nativist about being a New Jerseyan.
Well, yeah. So it's like to me, it's like Sunday's debate at Writers. Like to me, it like transcended mere clash of personalities. It was like a fundamental. It's like we're at a fundamental referendum on New Jersey's future. Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill presented a pragmatic vision centered on affordability and equity, and Jack Ciattarelli offered a contrasting approach, a CEO style proposal that felt to me like a blueprint for governance that felt less like a blueprint for governance and more like a technical discourse, but based on imaginary theory on physical policy. And I'm just like, what kind of fans? Okay, anyway, we're gonna set the scene before we kind of really get into it. It was like apparently it was 1,600 people at Rider University. They kept saying this is like the biggest debate we've ever had in New Jersey. I don't know. That's how people in New Jersey talk a lot. Like this is the biggest, bestest in event in history. And apparently, they had pro Palestinian protest outside. And it was, we were in a really we're at a crossroads right now in New Jersey. We're at a crossroads, and I'm really just, Sherelle said day one she's going to freeze the rate hikes, and she proposed shared services, permitting dashboards and district consolidation to cut cost. I really like that. I mean, what did you think about her like day one, like, or even like this? How do you think her first like her intro speech went?
I think her intro speech went really well. Like it was engaging, it was direct. She talked about what New Jerseyans are talking about most right now, which is energy costs. She had really clear and present plans, not just saying that she was going to freeze the rates. She had a backup plan for what she was going to then do as far as packing our grid and, also making it easier for sustainable energy like battery storage, solar energy, wind farms, and things like that to take place in New Jersey. I think that she came out of the gate really, really running.
I mean, this is the thing. I think that's the thing I'm so confused about. Like when you read the press in regards to this debate, it makes it seem like, oh, she wasn't as Jack is a showman. He is a person, he's a showman, he's a liar. And he's talking about, pulling us out of the greenhouse regional initiative. I'm not, yeah, the regional plan. I think it's called, I forgot what it's called, but it's called, and yeah, I should actually know what that's called. But RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Initiative, regional initiative. And I'm very much disturbed by that. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. They took away our power plants. They took away, we care about that. We want to get rid of the windmills." I'm just like, everything he's saying is just based not in like science, based in pulling us back to essentially the dark ages in regards to, in regards to environmental and climate crisis, solutions. He I'm surprised he said he believed in that it was actually happening. He said it's human driven, but there are things that we can do. He wants to like, did he not, am I mistaken? Did he bring up nuclear energy at some point?
He did bring up nuclear energy at some point, and he also, like, I took great offense to him saying that I don't want, nobody here wants, no New Jerseyan wants wind farms offshore. That's absolutely not true. Please don't speak for me. You don't get to speak for me. Like, I would like wind farms offshore. Like that wind farm project was supposed to be quite robust and was supposed to bring a lot of energy to New Jersey, a lot of clean energy to New Jersey. He did bring up nuclear energy, and he did, like, he kind of said that he believed in climate change, but kind of not. He was like, yeah, I think that Mother Nature is trying to send us a message, like, which is very, like, kind of like tiptoeing around the subject and not actually stating that climate change is a real and present threat.
And I also thought it was interesting. He kept bringing up Pennsylvania and Florida as if those are places anyone would want to move. Why would I like? Why does he keep bringing up Pennsylvania? We could be like Pennsylvania. Why would I want to be like Pennsylvania? Well, everything that they're doing, I don't want to do that. Why would
Yeah,
I want to do anything Pennsylvania or Florida is doing? I don't understand that.
but Pennsylvania and Florida are not comparable to New Jersey. Like New Jersey, like especially northern New Jersey, which frankly is most of New Jersey. Like so that's where most of New Jersey lives, is in northern New Jersey. We're very tied into what happens in New York City and in like Westchester and things like that. Like comparing us to Pennsylvania and Florida is just not accurate. And you'd have to drag us back like 50 years in order to make us like Pennsylvania in any way.
And even Florida. I mean, the thing I think is really interesting is that, he's talking about, we have, we need to, New Jersey needs to be, look, New Jersey and New York and Connecticut, we are all one area. This whole idea that New Jersey is going to be some separate thing, like one of the people who were asking questions was like, I'd go to school in New York City. So, or I not go to school, I work in New York City. And, what about the commuting and all this stuff? And he says, well, I'll make it so you don't have to commute to New York City. Wait, hold on. What we're gonna become like we're gonna just become our own little soul state. This whole states' rights, city rights, this is harmful. It is racist. It is sexist. It is harmful for the environment. It is harmful for even like the business environment. I don't even see how that would be a healthy business environment. Why would I? And again, he keeps throwing out examples of places I would never want to live. It's like, it's just wild to me.
It is absolutely wild. And like not only that, but like, like people bringing up commuting and talking about trains and things like that. Like he fully wants to gut like public transit in New Jersey. And he even said as much during the debate.
That's the whole thing. Another thing, yeah, he said, well, what we need to do, and I kind of like wrote this down. He's like, we need to create one big, he said mass transit. He said New Jersey's mass transit, but he said the Parkway is mass transit.
Yeah.
Essentially, he was saying that the highways were mass transit too. And so essentially, the public transit and the carways should all go under one big agency called the Garden State Authority of Transportation. I don't know what he said, but something like that. Garden State Authority of Transportation. And I was like, so you're essentially, yeah, the Grant Garden State Authority, where he would just have one pot of money, and then essentially they would just decide, and they said, oh, we're going to use the most traveled roads. Well, because of our public transit problem in regards to the non-connectivity in New Jersey, of course, if you do like data, you're going to see a lot of cars on the street because we have no other way to get around because of Chris Christie and other people, Republicans and all that stuff who want to prevent us from having better transit into New York and also transit even within the own New Jersey area. That's the whole thing. If people like Jack were honest and they were really cared about New Jersey and cared about people, New Jerseyans, they would actually be advocating for more like, more trolleys, like extending the light rail, bike lanes, essentially making it so that it was easy to get around New Jersey without a car, which, both of the candidates say it's the most dense state. It is the most urban state. They didn't say that part, but that that part was quiet, but it is the most urban state. And he's dishonest, and I'm just, and this is not even about like, this is not, for me, this is not a person opinion. This is me saying this is a person who does not value democracy. This person clearly comes off as authoritarian.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think that his attitude towards Mikie Sherrill and his lack of respect for her and her service record in the Navy, and the people that he obviously packed into that stadium to boo her, also have no respect for democracy and are very authoritarian. It really struck me as him, despite all the word salads, despite all she called him out. He does definitely tell you what you want to hear. He struck me very much as I'm a man. Listen to me. She's a woman. You don't want to listen to a woman, do you? Like, that's what the debate really struck me as.
It definitely struck me that way. It was definitely just to me when I saw that, just how he interacted with Mickey and how his team interacted in the audience. I was horrified to see what kind of New Jersey would manifest if he were to be elected. And to me, she was hitting on a lot of issues that I think are so important, especially in regards to merging municipalities and merging school districts to, to reduce cost. And also to, it's not even about reducing cost. It's about making a better, it's smarter. We're hurting ourselves. Even the rich districts are hurting themselves by having this home rule, separate, but now nowhere near equal school system. If we together we're stronger. It's kind of like, well, if you took your house, like say, say you and your husband and your cats all lived in different houses, and you guys all went to work to support these different houses, but you're like, you're one unit, but you all have these different houses. This is essentially what New Jersey is doing, and it's kind of like, oh, we have the highest taxes. Well, we could stop this at any time. I've said this several times. We've said this several times. The fact that Mickey is saying it is really like really making me kind of go, oh wow, she gets it. She gets what the problem is. It's the fact that, you have school districts with like, just a K-3. Why are you having a school district just a K-3? Just so you can segregate your kids from, and it's based in racism. And I think that his focusing on school choice and wanting to essentially defund the schools, defund the child care programs. People don't understand. He's trying to snatch away Abbott. He's trying to snatch away, like, essentially destroy our public schools. He kept saying, "Oh, we're number 12, blah blah blah." 12 is amazing. 12 is
12,
we have 50
12 is
states.
amazing. Like for the size that we are, for us to be number 12 in the United States is pretty amazing, especially post-pandemic, post-learning loss and all the struggles that the kids have had. It's pretty amazing.
And also, he's comparing, he's like, well, we could be like Louisiana. Why? We could be like Mississippi. As if those are positive things. He's talking about what we need to do is have critical life, vocational, oh, no, critical life skills. Critical life skills. What is critical? Does he understand what critical means? Critical is from the Marxist tradition. He's a Marxist now, so critical life skills. That would be organizing the people? What's he talking about?
He's stated on numerous occasions that he absolutely intends to follow the MAGA Doge agenda of defunding the Department of Education. And New Jersey students and New Jersey parents absolutely cannot afford that. If you want to compare our schools to Louisiana and Mississippi, okay, so you want our children to have this new PragerU approved educational curriculum in place in our schools. So that's what you want for New Jersey schools is to hear that slavery wasn't that bad of a thing. At least they weren't dead, right? Har, 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 har. And his very loud dog whistle about how we wouldn't be discussing segregation if Black schools were outperforming white schools is frankly disgusting. Like it just his whole everything he said to me at least was um a veiled endorsement of MAGA and Doja's policies that they've inflicted on our federal government.
And I feel that the media who covered this event, they were pretty disgusting too, because they're making it seem like he didn't do dog whistles. The only, and as I thought was ironic, is the only time Black people were brought up in that whole debate, sponsored by the Globe. Which I'm just kind of like, that's wild. The Globe is trying to pretend like it's like just this objective news source. It is not. It is not. They are on the right. They're partisan, which I guess is not a problem. For anyway, they are on the right. And the thing I don't understand is that this our media covering this as if he was fine, as if he was just talking, as if he isn't an extension of what's going on in the White House. He's clearly an extension of that, and also too the fact that we were talking online, and someone was kind of like, "Well, see, Mikie said she was for charter schools too." She did not say that. She said she was for county schools, and she says, if schools that are not doing well for choice. I mean, and the thing is that it's unfortunate. I am, I am adamantly against charter schools, but I also see that New Jersey has a especially heinous kind of racism, even within its teacher unions, and in regards to like just trying to, just me trying to get myself a teaching credential in New Jersey, even after teaching in California for over a decade. And I could see that people might use a charter school route in order to escape that racism. But that is like, so it's kind of like, it's weird. They're playing this little game. These people are not for charter schools. They want the racism in the schools to go away. And essentially, the only choice they had was to do that. But if we could get to a point where we were consolidating school districts so that people can have money and funding, that wouldn't be an option. And they know that she can't just say, "Oh, I'm totally against everything," because then we have these people who are just kind of like, well, if she's going to do that, then I'm not going to vote for her. I mean, it's just I don't understand what people don't understand where we are on the game wheel.
It's more of that purity in politics, and people are looking for a pure candidate. But like that's unfortunate. The thing is also is that like people have to understand that Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody has the same information that you have about charter schools and about how detrimental they are to our public school systems and to children and to desegregation and things like that. So she has to appeal to a broad stroke of candidates while also perhaps educating people more on what our public schools are capable of and helping to close that gap in our public school districts so that people don't feel compelled to send their children to charter schools.
Yeah, this is the whole thing. Yes. So it's like, I mean, this is the thing. It's like we have a true, not only have a true sexism problem in the United States, not United States, but yes, we do, United States, but in New Jersey, but also we have a racism problem in New Jersey. And and I feel like for the people who are so into the purity, they seem to be totally okay with the total racism that runs rampant in all political spheres, whether it's Democratic Party, whether it's the Republican Party, whether it's the Green Party, whether it's the SP. See, they all are this. They all engage in this anti-blackness, and then they all like, act like when people are kind of like trying to do anything to fight against it, they're kind of like, well, see, that's identity politics. I mean, this is the whole thing. It's, you know, she was to me, I felt like her school answer was a really good answer. And even like never going to move to the Constitution, she kept saying, I will defend the Constitution. I will defend the Constitution. She says she will respect due process. And then people are going to be like, well, she didn't say the exact same right thing. Well, he said he said he would get rid of sanctuary policies. He said he would put people in jail and deport them. So he's being very explicit. So why do you expect, oh, you want her to be explicit too? Because you know this game. You know where we live. Look at that. If you look at the debate, it was already hostile to me. Like it was for me as a black woman, the entire debate was hostile. It was in Ryder, the where it was, the location. Like, and I'm like, I think it's really interesting how every aspect of New Jersey life is racially segregated. That's wild to me.
And I really I felt like the debate place was hostile. I felt like Jack was hostile. I felt like the crowd was hostile. Not all of it, but like there was like the Goombas in the back that were yelling every single time. Who boos a person who says that they're going to defend the Constitution of the United States? Who boos a veteran Navy pilot who swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States and feels very strongly about that and still upholds that? They're supposed to be the party of the Constitution. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And you're right, the sane washing of the cowardly journalists that are writing up about this debate and treating it like it was just a normal thing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You are cowardly. You are taking money to say lies.
That's the whole thing. They are. It's like you're taking money to say lies, and I'm just like when Ciattarelli was like, "Oh, Trump's big beautiful bill," essentially just saying, "Oh, here are the positive parts of it." I'm like, we are all living the consequences of this big beautiful bill, and he's still touting it as a positive. He's still saying all of the things. He's still saying, "I don't see anything wrong with it," and I'm like, "Do you understand?" Okay, even Jack, who calls himself a businessman. He essentially is a businessman, and that happened because of the government jobs that his parents and grandparents have. Essentially, everybody that we know that's in New Jersey recently, I mean, not I said all of us, all of our, and I'm not, I'm not from here, but most of the working class, and New Jersey has one of the biggest middle income working classes. Most of those people are not small businessmen. They're not. So let's stop acting like that. Most of the people that we know who view themselves as middle class, someone in their household works for the government or has a union job. He is going to gut all of those things. And I don't understand, we talk about the small business owner. We act like New Jersey is a town of small business owners. we're a town of people who will be like, "Oh, I'm going to go to this fast food restaurant." Like they're like, I mean, yeah, there are some pizza joints, but that pizza joint, okay, I put it this way. New Jersey's small businesses and restaurants are like LA's art galleries. No one's really like they're doing it because they love, I love the fact that I have pizza and I like to make pizza or I like my little small business. But anybody who has one of those has a wife or a husband who's got a government job. That's how those businesses are staying afloat. So why are we playing this game? There's nobody who's really just surviving off of their small business in New Jersey, and we know this.
And people are like, they're still like people like Jack are still trying to sell this idea that like your small business, your little bakery, or like whatever is like your key to financial freedom. I'm sorry, it is not. If you open a small business, like a small bakery or a coffee shop or something like that, you are going to be chained to that business 24/7, 365 for at least 5 years until you are somewhat solvent to hire a manager so that you can take one day off a week. That is the reality of small business. I have many small business owners that are my friends. I wanted to open a small business for a long time. I did a lot of research about it. I learned a lot about it and I decided, you know what? No, I don't want that. I don't want that because I'm lazy. Like um
And even if you weren't lazy, chances are you're gonna fail. Your business is gonna fail. So let's stop acting like that's like, or even that, just not act like that's New Jersey. Most people in New Jersey, the reason why people are on the road is not because they're going to their little bakery or their little pizza shop. No, they're going to go work for the government. The reason why we have so many, municipalities, another reason is to provide people jobs. Those are all middle class jobs. So, and that's the thing that's just so, ironic about it. It's like, oh, we hate the government, we hate the government, we hate the government. The government is the reason you exist. The government is the reason for these middle class jobs. And so it's kind of like what do they want? Do you want a government or do you not want a government? You want small government so that you can, but you don't want to pay taxes. Well, the thing is this is if you have the amount of municipalities, the amount of cities and towns that you have in New Jersey, you're going to pay taxes because essentially you're paying for middle class jobs that are, for most part, highly gendered and divided by gender and divided by race. And we're acting like that's not happening, and it is happening. Because if people anyway. And another thing that just really made me upset with him was his whole thing about his he said, "Oh, I'm for immunizations. I'm for immunizations, et cetera, et cetera." But the thing is that if he's still, behind Trump and all of his Trump's ideas, and so he would probably pull us out of the regional, Northeast or regional vaccine
we
group.
cannot we cannot lose
Yeah,
our place in the Northeast Public Health Coalition. We cannot. Like that is so very important, not just to us here in New Jersey, but to New York, Pennsylvania, who is not part of it, but it's still important to Pennsylvania. It's important to all the other member states that are part of that coalition.
yeah, so like he will because he's so into the whole states' rights, New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. So he's against regionalism. So anything that's about regional and working together, he'd be against that. And then he kept up bringing up transgender athletes, transgender people. He kept bringing up transgender people. No one asked him. No one asked him. He volunteered. He volunteered like three, four times, explicitly expressing his hate for transgender people. And it was just you know, this is something I don't know like how many times I don't know if I saw this in that many of the recaps by these news agencies, but I feel like, wow, didn't mention the fact that he was just explicitly racist with his little like, oh, if the black schools were better, people wouldn't mind being integrated into them. Oh,
Ugh.
and now the transgender people, he just wants to like essentially just continually three or four times he brought it up. Three or four
Yeah.
times he brought it up, and and the kids were not behind him, but his rowdy group of I'm gonna call them thugs in the back. They they seem to be fine with him and his blatant heterosexism, because I don't want to call it transphobia. You're not scared of them.
No.
You're just heterosexism, his sexism generally. His racism was just on full display, all kind of dog whistles, and it seemed, and you read the recaps of this, it just seemed like, well, Jack was strong. That's strong? Just being a jerk? That's strong to you?
The
Go ahead.
sea lioning your personal opinion into the middle of a debate about public health is just inappropriate. Like, and like people like to talk about like, people like to talk about like this sense of priory, or this sense of tradition and debates and politics and everything like that. And in the last decade, we have seen the GOP and the Republicans absolutely shred tradition, absolutely shred propriety, and just pack these stadiums, town halls, whatever, with, as you said, thugs that are there specifically to yell at specific points, to like bring a sense of like sports to politics. Like, this isn't sports, this is people's lives. And my whole like recap of the debate, like if I was there at the debate and I had an opportunity to like say anything to Jack at the end of it, I just would have looked at him and been like, "Okay, boomer." Like like that's really like what it was. I hate to say that. I'm sorry for any boomer age listeners that we have. You are not a monolith, but Jack Ciattarelli certainly like encompasses okay boomer.
I just couldn't even just, to me, I think another thing that's just frustrating to me is that yes, I know how, Sher Mikie Sherrill, no, she's not going to be like a left radical person. She's not going to be that. But I feel, really, and I'm saying this, I really feel that she did a good job and she said a lot of things that I believe in. And this is not just like, okay, well, this is like, oh, I'm just saying this because I disagree with Jack. No, I actually agreed with Mickey on so many of her points in a state that's so polarized and so divisive and so angry. We really need someone who is like Sherelle. Because how are we gonna get anything accomplished? How are we gonna get anything accomplished? Hopefully people can, people who understand where we are at, um, in on this timeline, we'll see that Sherelle is the only choice for us to continue to have our education system, for us to continue to have our jobs. If you work for the state, or you work for the city, or you work for the government, or you have a union job, or you want union contracts, or anything like that, we are going to need a person like Sherelle because and I hope that even people on the left are able to let go of whatever issues that they have and think about the larger issue. Think about undocumented people. Think about people who look, whatever that means, undocumented. Think about women. Think about, transgender people. Think about the LGBTQ community. Think about, just think about other humans. Not even like, gosh, stop being so selfish. And even people who are like part of the other camps, like, okay, Fulop or Ross. I get it. You wanted your candidate to win, but they didn't. And we can't discuss what we could have done. It's over. It's done.
That that's another thing too, that like I remember being a child and like seeing like the process leading up to like a presidential general election, and my parents and my grandparents explaining it to me that, like, okay, so like you vote in a primary and this is the person that you really want to win. You really want this person to win. This is the person you believe in the most. They speak to you the most. They mirror your conscience and your morality the most. So you vote for them in the primary, but they don't win. So you have to do the next best thing. Like, there's no, like, what happened to, like, this is the next best thing. Like, not like the lesser of two evils. Like, this is the next best thing. Like, Mikie Sherrill has a clear plan for progress in New Jersey. And she has outlined it. She has stated it over and over again, and she keeps getting knocked for absolutely bullshit things.
I think that's the thing. When I saw her, I was just kind of like, how can anyone have a problem with this? Like, considering where we are, how could anyone have a problem with what is going on? And I just feel like some people, I think, I have to think that they're just, masochists. There's no other excuse I can give for them. I don't really know why they would be so for destroying all this, destroying. I think a lot of people also too feel that, well, I'm middle class, I don't have anything to worry about, I have a house, my husband is working, has a good job. Those jobs could go away. If you work in academia, those jobs can go away. Your job could go away. His job, I mean, if my family has been here in the United States since the 1700s, I promise you, you can be hotel owner, doing really well, and go back to almost living on the street in one generation. You think you can't do that? You think that can't happen? It can happen.
It absolutely can, and it absolutely will. Like, you can talk to the farmers in Arkansas that are rapidly losing their farms, not just like revenue, not just their crops. They are losing their farms in the South right now because of the choices that they made, and the government that they hired to take care of them. And the government is not taking care of them. And you really, like, I would ask people that are on the left that are waffling about this, like, you don't want that for New Jersey. You don't want our small family farms to go bankrupt. You don't want our schools to be defunded. You don't want us out of the Northeast Public Health Coalition because you don't want your children and yourself to lose vaccine access. Like, these are real issues. You do not want to see more ICE in our cities. We already have them here. You don't want Ciattarelli to just give them free reign, which is what he would absolutely do. So, like, really, you need to sit with yourself and you need to sit with your conscience. And is a protest vote worth it to lose our state to this MAGA agenda?
Exactly. And also remember the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It's a cooperative effort between Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. Do not, do not bring us back to the dark ages in regards to the climate crisis, the environmentalism, education, healthcare, our social relations between people. Don't bring us back to the dark ages. Don't do this. This whole like New Jersey, we are one country, we're one people, we're a community. And with that, do you have anything else to say, Kimberly?
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. We
Do
did
the
that
right
whole like,
thing.
yeah, I forgot what movie that was from.
I think it was from Do the Right Thing.
Oh, yep. Yeah, clearly that was the movie it was from. All right. So remember, everyone, please subscribe, and please stay active. And we're looking forward to debate number 2.
Thank you for listening.